Okay, so last week I'm sure you saw the news that Warner Brothers had announced that they were releasing their entire 2021 movie slate on HBO Max. This included some of their heavy hitters such as Godzilla Vs Kong, The Matrix 4, Suicide Squad, Tom and Jerry, The Conjuring, and more. Tom and Jerry probably the biggest movie out of them. Now, it was a bold move, especially because the studio still don't know the result of their Wonder Woman 1984 experiment to see if it's worth releasing things on HBO Max the same day that they drop in theaters. Needless to say, the announcement completely rocked the cinema world, and this business model spells doom for a lot of theater chains, especially if other studios such as Disney follow suit. Christopher Nolan, a big voice in the film industry, has came out and said some not too kind things about this move, and the guy has basically taken a dump on HBO Max. We'll get into it all in just a bit, but if this is your first time here, welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Paul. We break down all the latest movies and TV shows and also give you the news on the ins and outs of the industry, so if that's what you're into, then make sure you hit the subscribe button. Also, I want to see how many people agree with Nolan, so make sure you hit the thumbs up button if you do, and thumbs down if you don't. Now, The Hollywood Reporter recently dropped the full quote from Nolan on what he had to say on the industry-changing move. When discussing the matter, the director said, "Some of our industry's biggest filmmakers and most important movie stars went to bed the night before thinking they were working for the greatest movie studio and woke up to find out that they were working for the worst streaming service. Warner Bros. Had an incredible machine for getting a filmmaker's work out everywhere, and they are dismantling it as we speak. They don't even understand what they're losing. Their decision makes no economic sense, and even the most casual Wall Street investor can see the difference between disruption and dysfunction." Pretty scathing remarks, and you know what, I've heard that HBO Max is actually quite good. A lot better than Peacock, so I'm told. Now, on top of this, there are rumours that Legendary Studios, the team behind both Godzilla Vs Kong and Dune, are actually suing the studio as they were only told half an hour before the announcement that this was going to be how their films would be released. Nolan clearly isn't a fan of it, and I have to say that when I first heard the news, I was very shocked that they'd chosen this route, especially as films like Dune aren't out until October, and it could be very likely that things are making their way back to normal by then. I didn't initially cover this story as I was waiting for the inevitable backlash, but I know a lot of you want to hear my initial reaction to the delays, so I'll talk about that for just a bit. Now, the announcement was, I have to say, very, very bittersweet. I'm a cinema lover, and as someone who rarely gets out of the house because I work from home, the cinema was my reason to go and do something. I of course love films and have a lot of friends that work in cinema chains, which is how I get to see movies earlier than most, so I can put together my videos with such speed. Fastest kid alive. Now, not every studio is jumping at the chance to have their movies spoiled, so I was of course gutted for my friends and also myself in that I think the cinema is something amazing and probably the best way to watch movies, especially for the first time. I'll never forget watching The Dark Knight in IMAX or seeing Tony Stark snap his fingers because the cinema just takes away all the distractions and makes you focus on the movies. However, I was happy in a way as delays have killed my channel a bit, and it's been difficult keeping the engine going on it the last year when there's only been about 3 movies released. I know that there's a ton of people who've had it a lot harder than I have in the pandemic, but this is my full-time job, and I remember in May thinking that there's no way I would make it to the end of the year because everything was delayed. So I appreciate all the people that have continued to support me. You're the best. Now, yes, I know that movies are going to be released, and I'll have stuff to cover, and it did feel like a weight off my shoulders. However, I felt that there was also a big loss that came from this decision. Nolan clearly feels the same way too. I think that announcing the entire 2021 slate as being on a streaming service will cause a lot of issues for the studio too. Piracy is going to be like never before, and whereas people are sometimes put off it due to low quality, we're going to have digital 4K versions of films released on the same day that they come out. HBO Max is only available in the US, and like it or lump it, the reality of the situation is that people will just illegally download the movie to watch it at home if they can't either go to a theatre or access the service itself. I think this move by Warner forces a lot of other studios such as Disney to consider dropping things on Disney+. However, that has a much bigger reach than HBO Max does, as it's available worldwide, and thus there'll probably be a lot less piracy. I heard from a mate, not me, that they used to watch all of The Mandalorian on the day it came out because Disney Plus wasn't available in the UK, and I think Warner are just going to get a lot of their content downloaded illegally on day one. So I can see why Nolan has problems with it, and as someone who pretty much forced Tenet to be released in theatres, he clearly doesn't agree with what's going on. However, on the flip side of this, there's a lot of criticism saying that Nolan is putting art before safety, and that due to the current climate, Warner Brothers is actually doing the right thing. If you look on the original thread where the article was posted, people are actually siding with Warner Brothers and saying that because Tenet underperformed, that Nolan himself was the reason for this move. In the run up to that release, though it was delayed, Nolan pretty much planted his feet firmly in the ground and said that it would have to be shown theatrically instead of being pushed back, and thus WB dropped it, unsure of whether it was the right thing to do or not. The director has a lot of clout, and clearly the studio tried it his way, but it didn't work. They also have to contend with the fact that they can't keep pushing movies back and have to make money, as this will have a knock-on effect on the films released in 2022. The economics of not releasing these movies is also a big factor here, and clearly they've thought long and hard about this before making the decision. There's also a report at the moment from CNBC saying that HBO Max may be renamed to have Warner in the title, and this makes more sense as a lot of people think it's just HBO content, whereas Warner encompasses a lot more. Hopefully we get that worldwide release too, yeah? My kids are dying here. Just kidding, I don't have kids. I am the kid. Now back to Nolan, I think there's a lot of people taking his comments slightly out of context and running with their own narrative on it. The main reason he's blasting the studio is because they went behind the filmmakers' backs and then told them half an hour before dropping the announcement. Clearly, none of the creative team were involved in this decision, and it's unlikely that they had any input at all because of how it not only shocked the movie industry, but also the movie makers themselves. I don't think Nolan is being as dismissive towards safety as many people are saying, and at no point does he say not to delay the movies. Rather, he just doesn't want them to be released on a streaming service because A, they deserve bigger, and B, it kills cinema chains and makes a struggling industry have even more of an uphill battle. I can definitely see where he's coming from, but the studio has been forced to make this decision after trying things his way, and clearly they also realise the value in streaming services. Netflix are of course the biggest at the moment, but over the last 2 weeks in terms of subscriber growth, HBO Max has completely dominated them. And that's not saying that much because if they're smaller, they obviously have the potential to grow more, but I do think that Warner Brothers are looking to the future and realizing that if they can become the dominant streaming force, then they'll have a lot more power. If HBO Max does become one of the world's biggest streaming services because of this move, they will of course recoup the benefits, but whether that's good news for the industry as a whole remains to be seen. Now obviously I'd love to hear your thoughts on this news, so make sure you comment below and let me know. If you enjoyed the video, then please drop a thumbs up and make sure you check out our full breakdown of Tenet, which will be linked after this. We go over the 100 best Easter eggs in the movie, so it's definitely worth checking out if you want to know more. Don't forget we're giving away 3 copies of the Lord of the Rings 4K box set, and all you have to do to be in with a chance of winning is like the video, make sure you subscribe with notifications on and drop a comment below. The winner is going to be chosen at random on the 30th of December, so make sure you get involved. If you want to support the channel and get to see content early, then please consider clicking the join button below. You can also come chat to us on the Discord server, linked in the description, or at Heavy Spoilers on Twitter. Thanks for making it until the end of the video. You've been the best, I've been Paul, I'll see you next time. Take care, peace.